this is a learning experience, and you can learn just as much from, you know, your struggles and possibly even mistakes as you can, you know, choosing a band that's going to sell itself out like that. So I think it's a really good idea, and I'll still be behind it and work my hardest.
I think that's what it is. It's a learning process, this course and this gig, and we wouldn't be here if we didn't want to learn, and I think you get out of it what you put into it.
It's real, there's a risk factor, you know, we're working, we've got to deliver, and you know, nobody wants to deliver a bad gig. I think that this was a fantastic course at exactly the right time.
Creative Industries,
Music and Live Events Management.
Foundation degree.
At City University. When I went to university, I never really knew what I wanted to do within the industry. I knew that I'd always loved music and that that's really where I wanted to end up.
I did this course to sort of see what the other side of performance is like, the backstage, the production, the marketing, the programming.
We introduced the course 5 years ago, this is the 5th year. It was kind of in response really to a skills gap that had been identified by the Creative and Cultural Skills Council in their skill set reports.
Because essentially it's a music business degree, so it's a business degree that's related to music. Because I was like, I'm going to go out my way to learn the skills that I want to, but if you don't have the right business skills, you can't really market yourself in the right way.
What's really needed in the sector is the professional education. It's to actually have people who can have an overview, who can be more involved in the management side of things, or developing policy, or doing research in the area. Because the creative industry is a growth area and it needs its own discipline, it needs its own sort of basis of knowledge.
The unique element of the course, I think, is then having a live production module, so that we're actually doing events here at the Roundhouse with the main house gig as the kind of masterstroke and key moment.
It's based here at the Roundhouse in Camden, which is a great venue.
The Roundhouse is an independent venue, which means that it's not owned by one of the big players like Live Nation or Academy Group. As a university, have an arrangement with the Roundhouse where we are hiring the space for the teaching and for putting on all of the events. We need to kind of like get everybody's creative juices flowing, and we need to figure out a title for this night.
Handpicked.
Handpicked.
Handpicked. It's called Handpicked. It's in collaboration with Eat Your Own Ears.
We've got a really, really good lineup of 6 bands and DJs.
It's not my kind of genre, except the one band I did want to interview, which I did interview, Dark Bells.
These are sort of watch out for the future bands.
It's a wonderful opportunity because the students are totally responsible for the production, but guided by a professional team.
So it's a kind of mix of theory, practical examples from experience, and then the real learning, which, you know, in this industry has to be, which is the live gig itself, actually being part of the event.
That's going to be a great night. I feel it.
We're going to sell out. It's going to be great. Everyone's going to love it.
No, not a chance. We've not had long enough to market.
I think it will look full.
Really full. With
the curtain as well, it will look really packed.
We'll probably get quite a lot of people walking up on the day.
Okay, let's start from the beginning.
Yes, please. It took us a while, but we got there with the organisation. There was lots of ideas floating around to begin with. Everyone had a lot of programming ideas and organisational ideas, and they didn't necessarily work when put into context and when looked into further.
There was a sort of contemporary rock idea with the Tribes, and then there was another group which were going for more of a swing, jazz, rockabilly, vintage night idea, and then that just kind of fizzled out, which was a real shame.
So then Sherry came up with the idea of Secret 7-inch, but then the guy from Secret 7-inch didn't want to do it in March, so then that fell through.
But in that process, and that's why this course is so valuable, and it's where the learning really happens, is that in the process of going down what may appear to be kind of like dead ends, they never are completely dead ends, because what you're doing is creating contacts and creating a network. And so what we were able to do through our various conversations with people in pursuit of other ideas that we weren't able to kind of fulfill, we developed a very strong relationship with Eat Your Own Ears. And Lucy has very kindly come in to kind of like just answer questions and to have a chat about it all. And Justin is also going to make some notes and sort of like, as we're talking about it, develop some sort of an idea around the production schedule. The primary issue facing anybody who's wanting to develop a career in music programming, or certainly in event management, it's availability and being able to access the acts.
My feeling about the lineup is I sort of have put feelers out with most of them, and most of them seem interested, but we're at the point now where it'd be good to pick the top 10, say, and really work out a budget for that and get those locked in, but I want you to tell me which ones you like.
We have decided to do a sort of spectacular showcase in the main space, on the big stage, and just do it as a very cheap entrance ticket of the acts that they have already promoted in their smaller venues.
We've got 5 good bands doing something that, like, they could be quite big, so
yeah, they play a lot.
It'd be really good for us to 5 years down the line say, yeah, my first big gig was Brewing On.
Plus with all the filming and all the other little bits anyway, it's still cool.
Yeah.
It hasn't been a smooth ride, to say the least.
At times it's been a bit difficult, and at other times it's gone pretty swimmingly, I think.
There are some good parts of the collaboration with Eat Your Own Ears.
They have excellent channels, and we have great opportunity to learn from professionals from the music events industry.
In the sort of storming sessions in the class, one of the students came up with this notion of leaving a legacy, because this is going to be our final year. And it feels to me, totally appropriate that the legacy that we're leaving is kind of putting our resources and our energy and our support behind an independent promoter who has managed to establish themselves but still, you know, has to compete against the bigger players.
But it seems that there is a feeling of that we don't own the event like we wanted to.
I don't think it's working in a way that only a couple select people get to work with Eat Your Own Ears, because I don't want to speak to everyone.
Managing expectations is obviously one of the challenges for me and the teaching team.
There's a lot of self-reflexivity that's necessary in the course, and that's actually one of the most difficult bits and most useful. And not everyone gets it immediately, it's quite difficult. You know, so with a very large group of people, we put on some amazing events, but obviously in any group it's slightly Pareto optimal. Some people, you know, tend to kind of rise to the top, and others think, what am I doing here?
I don't feel like I'm any more able to put on a bigger gig than I was before we started. Just don't feel like I've learned anything extra than I would have before we
But do you not feel though that when you That's interesting.
For a
because,
big,
I mean,
I'm not talking about anything else. I'm just
but
talking
you've been
about that.
through the whole
that
process of all of the challenges that confront you around putting on a bigger gig. Do you not feel that you've learned from that?
We could have pushed it a bit more. I think it all, with the main space 8 Your Own Ears, that all happened quite quickly. The decisions that were made without, I know there was meetings, but without a lot of contact with the students, I feel.
Yeah, we could have pushed it more.
The reality is that the risk involved in putting on a gig in the main space, you're looking at £30,000-40,000. That's the risk for one gig. So obviously, you know, you don't just kind of walk into that zone. Do you know what I mean? It's like you need to have a kind of like a structure around you to be able to handle putting on those type of promotions. I take your point totally about feeling that things are kind of motoring on and you don't feel that you're completely central to that, involved to that process. And what I'm saying is let's look at the bits that we can be central to and let's focus on those.
Now I'm doing stage management so that I can get something out of it.
To make the most of it for me, I'm joining the broadcast team and just sticking with that so that I get an experience on working with the broadcasting of a big event.
So if you were to explain to the audience who may not have heard you or may not know, never had a shoegaze or psych, is there bands that you could potentially say that you are similar to?
The digital media production team will be broadcasting the event live on the internet from about 7 o'clock. During the day leading up to that, we're going to be making some other assets which will be used during the live broadcast. So that the main thing we'll be doing is interviewing all of the bands after their sound checks during the day. Those interviews will then be used in the evening as content between the live performances on the stage.
Can you offer me a different shot, please? Camera number 3, you're out of focus.
I am working on social media. So we've been tweeting up some of the merchandise that we've got to hand out later.
We've got some Oyster card holders, some bottle openers, stickers. Everybody loves stickers.
I'm doing front of house.
Front of house and audience surveys.
I'm doing the risk assessments, health and safety management.
I'm part of the artist liaison, so I'll be working mainly on the day with the artists.
Communications, so I will be sort of the runner between all departments.
It's more of a learning role tonight. I'm shadowing Britannia Row, the sound guys, trying to learn more about sound engineering on a larger scale than what I've done previously.
I'm going to be helping out with stage management.
I'm stage manager here.
I'm abrogating my responsibility currently by being in front of house, but I just want to see the crowds coming in. It's doing fine.
No, it's doing fine. It's really, so far so good.
Wicked fun.
I enjoy the group. I think we've got a good bond going on. Yeah, definitely. I think we'll work really well together.
Knackered.
Yeah.
Already.
I think we learn a lot, you know, we learn how to hold a gig, how to organise a gig from, you know, from the bottom to the end.
I feel I've learned that, like, not how not to make the same mistakes again. Like, I don't know, spending too much time on some things when other things were probably more important.
When you come into the course, I expected it can be completely different. Yeah, I can be part of the creative industries, I can do this, I can do that, and it's a real hard hit of realisation, which I think we all needed.
From the start of the course,
I can see how everyone's got better and everyone's come along. And it's really nice to see, all the different areas that people are doing, because people are now starting to properly work in the industry.
I've kind of focused what I want to do now, and I'm trying out different roles in the industry. So I've met agents, I've done promotional work and all sorts of different things.
While the industry out there I think is difficult, we've seen some events going under last year, that also opens up new opportunities, because actually it requires a refreshment. It's an industry that's desperate for new things to happen.
The nature of the game is that you need to be very enthusiastic about something, push it as far as you possibly can, absolutely believe in it. Different personalities react differently to adapting. But I think overall students understand that that's the nature of it.
Thanks for coming, and it's been great to play with all these amazing bands, so hope you had a good night.
Stand by.
So that's all for tonight, so thank you for all our amazing bands and crew.
A huge thank you to the Roundhouse and Eat Your Own Ears for this awesome collaboration.
Watch out for more from Handpicked Promotions and check us out on Facebook and Twitter.
Huge thank you for watching, and good night and goodbye.
Cut.